Hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. As you've read from the title, this is going to be my first paycheck post-college breakdown. I'm going to go into how much I made, how much was deducted, what my end amount was, how many hours I worked, all that jazz. Alright, so hello, my name is Erica. I am a recent graduate. I graduated May of 2024. It is currently March of 2025. I'm gonna discuss my paycheck post-college and my degree, my internship, how much I got paid, when I started to apply. So let's talk about my internship. So I got an internship at a pretty big company, a public company. I applied November, December. Okay, so a lot of people, they think that when you graduate college, you just go straight to a full-time job and forget about internships. If you are a senior and you might be a little stressed out, unsure like if you're going to secure a job right after college, please, I recommend look into internships. Paid, of course, just like it would be a full-time job. It gives you a little bit of time, or it gives you like that kind of grandfathered into the actual company, and you might even get a full-time position or at least figure out what you want to do. So I'm a linguistics major. I graduated from UT Austin. My diploma's right there. I was a linguistics degree. I didn't really know exactly what field I wanted to work in. So I applied to internships. Like I knew a girl who applied to Marlboro, the cigarette company, and she was going to be a sales manager there. And I just thought that was so crazy. I was like, what? I've never even thought of applying to companies or looking into positions at companies like that are just day-to-day life you like hear about, but you never even look them up. A lot of people apply to like Google, Apple, all the FAANG companies, when really there's all these smaller companies that are just as successful with positions open. So I did my search. I applied to these random companies that are big names, and I actually got an interview at the company I worked at as an intern. And basically they called me, I got an interview, it was a good interview. Then they interviewed me again and it went great and I got the position. But then another internship position opened up that would lean better to my like resume, and then I got that position. And all that went on from like November, end of November to maybe February. But I already had my position secured by end of December. It's just the other one switched when like late February or early February. I don't know. It was maybe like a 2 to 3 month window. But yeah, I applied, I sent my resume. So definitely get those resumes updated. So that's my reasoning on why I got an internship. I just kind of applied and I actually secured one and it paid good money. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do this internship as a senior. So that is what we're discussing, my internship paycheck. So let me grab my phone to see how much I got paid while you're here for the actual video. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go straight into it, and I'll put like a screenshot somewhere with blurring out my private information. So I started in May, and it was a May to August internship, so about 2.5 to 3 months. So for my first check, I made, for 40 hours of working, $1,278 as an intern with no experience. So yeah, so basically I was an hourly worker, so I made $31.95 an hour. So $31.95 an hour, which 40 hours I got $1,278, and that was my total earned. And then total taxes taken out was $222.03, which totaled my net amount to $1,055.97. So the $222 that were taken out was FICA, which was $79.24, FICA Medicare, which was $18.53, and federal tax, which was $124.26, which is the $222 that was taken out. So yeah, that's how much I made on my first paycheck after college. I netted amounted $1,055. I didn't have a 401k. I could have signed up for health benefits, but I had my dad's just because I was under 27 or 26, whatever the age is. So I just wanted to say this. Please, please apply to internships. In a way, it's more security because at least you're applying during college and you're securing the job instead of waiting until you graduate to like really go and venture and apply when a lot of positions are already taken, just because entry-level jobs already have like early applications. Just an example is Deloitte. It's a big company. They do a lot of their scouting in the fall for their summer full-time positions. So it really depends where you want to work at, but making $1,000 a week, 40 hours, and it's a work from home job internship was such an amazing deal, and I highly recommend that. Reaction to actually getting this internship, I was very shocked because there's not a lot of money talk in my family, and seeing in the 30s, like that's good money for like being younger, and that's just a lot of money. I don't know how to say it. Making basically $32 an hour right out of graduation was amazing. I've been in the server industry since I was 16. My first job was at Dairy Queen, making $7.25 an hour. So I've always kind of been on that like inconsistent money making path. Like sometimes I'll make more than $1,000 a week serving, but then maybe the next week I'll make like 200 because I don't get scheduled 1 or 2 days. So it made me feel like financial freedom. Even though I knew it was an internship, I knew that I could at least save, and I knew I would have enough every week to pay my bills. Now to talk about how I budgeted. So at this time, it was May. I just graduated. My partner and I bought a house last summer, so we moved in June. So I had my job for maybe a month before moving in. So at first I budgeted $600 for rent because that's how much rent was then. Now my my mortgage is around $800 to $1,000. In that realm, it's a little flexible because I have a partner who I live with. So I did the internship, and then after I interned, I applied to other full-time positions at my company, and I did receive a full-time position, which is where I currently work at. So just kind of a pro tip on how to budget. As of right now, I make about the same just because I put a lot towards my 401k, but if I started off with a full-time paycheck out of college, I highly recommend you put as much as you can into 401k. I started out with like 6%, which is still good, but I like upped it to the teens, and I think you max out at $21,000 per year on contributions. So I highly recommend, even if you can't do full like max contributions, try to put a lot in initially, because then you won't notice that it's gone later on when you're already used to the paycheck you're getting. So I make about the same amount as my internship just because I didn't contribute to anything. Now I have insurance and my 401k. So how I do budget is I'll put for my mortgage, which is this amount up here. So once all my bills are paid, then I put money into my savings, my Roth IRA or my individual, one of those or two of them if I have enough. And then after that, I leave about a few hundred for groceries. So I would leave maybe like 100 or 200 a week just for personal spending, and the rest would go into savings. So I highly recommend when you're first starting out, just save as much. You don't even know where, even if it's just in a savings account. So I highly, highly recommend a high yield savings. At least that you're making some money off of it, and then eventually look into other accounts. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will respond to you. I will assist you on, like, I'm not a financial professional, but I've done my research and I've talked to people on best ways to where to put money, how to save money. So I highly recommend saving after bills and then leaving a little bit for you for like groceries or eating out. And again, if you can't save because you have some debt, pay off your debt with the highest interest. There are some savings accounts that make more in their interest, positive interest basically, than how much you will pay on interest to another. So like if you have an interest rate of 1.99, I would just suggest putting your money into like a high yield savings with 3.75 interest, because you're making more money off that than losing. Versus now if you have like a 13% interest rate on a debt or a loan, then I would say immediately pay that off and try to save a bit, like maybe put a little bit in just so you know that you have at least some security or backup. That's really the video. Just kind of went over how much I made weekly in my first paycheck as a paid intern post-college, and how many hours I worked, how much I made per hour. I would love to know any of you guys' personal experience for your first paycheck after college, or how you feel about post-college job searching, just because it's not easy right now. I empathize. It's really hard, the job market, depending of course on your field, and honestly all the fields are just, it's a fight out there. Also, if you have any budgeting tips or recommendations on how someone can better take care of their money or save their money or invest it properly, please comment down below. Like, I'm always happy to learn as well. I guess the last thing I have is, please let me know what was your biggest surprise on your first paycheck. I guess I never knew how much taxes were taken out. Like, I was like, oh, I'm making this much an hour. I calculated the hourly hours that I was working, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make 1,300, and it ends up being like just shy of 1,000 just because of all the taxes. So I'd love to know how your state or country tax your paychecks. So thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoy the video. Oh, also, this is for a paycheck in Texas, by the way. Thank you guys, and have a great week.